When I was 11 and my big brother Charlie was 15, my daddy bought a boat. 26 feet of double-planked mahogany with a cabin and a little teak deck. We loved the boat, but we could only take the boat out from Memorial Day to Labor Day because that was the limit of our insurance policy. All the rest of the time, the boat was completely off limits. And it was the day before Memorial Day, and my parents went out and left me with my big brother, and he said, "Want to go to the boatyard?" And I said, "Sure." So I sat on the handlebars of his bike, and we took off, careening our way through the heart of Brooklyn, past taxi cabs and delivery trucks and moving vans and automobiles and city buses to the road that ran along the Knapp Street Canal into Schatz Brothers' boatyard and onto the boat. And we'd only been on the boat about a minute when Charlie turned the key over and the ignition hummed to life. And I said, "Charlie, you're not supposed to do that." And he said, "Just making sure everything works." And about a minute later, we were drifting backwards out of the slip. He cut the wheel, faced us forward, pulled down on the throttle, and we were making our way down the canal. "Charlie, you're going to get in trouble." "Only if you tell," he said. "And you're not going to tell, because then you'll get in trouble too." So we made our way out into the open waters of the Atlantic. Charlie pulled the throttle all the way down. I scampered through the cabin, up through the hatch, onto the hull. Oh, the wind was blowing my hair. We were cutting water on either side of us like the wings of a great bird. And I heard my brother call out, "Having fun?" And I turned around to answer him, and I saw dark, ominous storm clouds building up behind us. And I said, "Charlie, weather!" And he turned around and he said, "Okay, we'll head back." And I faced forward in time to see a gigantic log right in front of us. Wood! But it was too late. Whack! We slammed right into that log. Charlie cut the engine. I scampered back out onto the deck. We stared at each other. And then he pulled ever so slightly on that throttle. Thunk, 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 thunk. And we knew what that meant. We had bent the propeller. We made it home at a snail's pace so that we wouldn't vibrate the engine loose, knowing we were in a terrible, terrible mess. But we got home a few minutes before my parents. Enough time for Charlie to spread the Monopoly set out on the rug with houses and hotels. It looked like we had been playing all afternoon. And I whispered, "What are you going to tell Daddy?" He said, "I don't know. Just don't say nothing." So dinner time came, and Charlie hadn't said anything. And bedtime came, and Charlie hadn't said anything. And morning came, and he hadn't said anything. My mom was filling the cooler with sandwiches and cans of soda. We piled into Daddy's car and over to the boatyard and onto the boat, and Charlie hadn't said anything. And my father reached in his pocket, took out the keys, and tossed them to my brother. And he said, "Here, son, do the first honors and take us out." And my brother, in an unexpected act of humility and respect, said, "No, Dad, your boat. First honors belong to you." And he tossed the keys back to my father, who, of course, was beaming. And my father turned the key over. The ignition hummed to life. We floated backwards. We drifted out of the slip. He cut the wheel. The boat faced forward. And just as he began to pull down on the throttle, Charlie yelled, "Wood! Wood!" And my father cut the throttle, and he said, "What's wrong? What happened?" And my brother said, "Wood, Dad. You hit a log." I tried to warn you. Why didn't you listen to me? And my father hung his head in shame and embarrassment at having damaged our boat, the first moment of the first voyage of the season. But it was Memorial Day. We had insurance. And from across the deck, I saw my brother, and he was smiling. Thank you.